Today I'll be asking people about Africa.
Hello, what's your
Hello,
name?
my name is Tadeusz.
Where are you from?
I'm from Slovakia.
Today I'd like to ask you something about Africa. What do you know about Africa?
Oh, Africa. Africa is like a big continent, and I don't know much about Africa.
Which country do you know in Africa?
Oh, in Africa, of course, I know Morocco, Algeria, Kenya, Somalia, and I also know Togo. It's a small country, but I have a friend in Slovakia who comes from Togo.
Good. And in which country, out of these countries, which country do you like, or which place would you like to visit maybe in the future, or have you ever been in Africa before?
I've been in Morocco, but I would like to visit maybe Kenya.
Why Kenya?
Because Kenya is like an equatorial country, I think, or somewhere there.
That's good. And just to, when you are in Morocco, what was interesting for you?
I think the most interesting is the culture because it's totally different in comparison to our culture in Slovakia, and people eat different food and also they live different lives.
That's good. Now that you are planning to go to Kenya, maybe you can say hi to my people because most of them will be Kenyans viewing you.
Oh, hi, all Kenyans there.
Okay, bye. Hi, what's your name?
Hello guys, I'm Mels Becker.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
I'd like to ask you something like, what do you know about Africa?
When I think of Africa in terms of economy or just the country?
No, like what idea comes in your mind when you hear about Africa, or what do you know about Africa? The information you have about Africa. So
I know all the different cultures they have. They have like Islamic culture, Egypt, and like the Nigeria, and mostly the exotic animals like the elephants, the tigers. Yeah, they have just everything there in Africa. So that.
And out of those like 54 countries in Africa, which country do you like most?
I think South Africa.
Why South Africa?
I don't know, because it's such a weird culture there, because the different racial cultures there are there. But also like I like Egypt, man.
And which country would you like to visit like in Africa?
Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and yeah, of course South Africa then.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
If you visit Africa one day, maybe we'll meet
We'll meet again.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Thank you. Okay, hi. What's
Hey,
your name?
my name is Hugo.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
I'd like to ask you something about Africa. Like, what
Okay.
comes to mind when you hear about Africa?
The big five, I would say. All the animals, all the tours, and in Kenya, like with the rides, they go really close to the animals.
And what's interesting like in you when you hear about Africa? Like, what do you like to be in Africa one day?
I would. I think it's very, like the news still thinks it's very poor, but I think a lot of countries are actually getting a little bit more closer to the Western world, so to say. I think it's a good thing. I want to go there, definitely.
Which country would you like to visit in Africa?
Good question. Maybe something like Ivory Coast, Kenya. Depends. I don't really mind. South Africa, something in that region, I guess.
And what would you like to experience while in Africa? Like, what do you like to see or enjoy, something like this that you miss in your country? Or
The animals and just the nature. It's so much nature in Africa. And I think here it's always buildings, always people, and there it's just more nature and more. Everything is just more relaxed, I feel. I think that's it.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
And if you plan to visit in Africa, I hope I'll see you there one day, especially Kenya, where I come from.
Perfect. I'll see you there.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
see you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Where are you from?
I'm from South Korea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you something about Africa. Like, what comes to your mind when you hear about Africa?
maybe the nature with lots of animals, wild animals.
In Korea, like you don't have these wild animals.
Yeah, we don't have wild animals. We have there are only birds and yeah, we are in a big city, so we don't have something nature thing. Yeah.
Like you like because like also in Africa you have big cities, but again you have like wild animals. Does it mean like maybe the environment doesn't support like wild animals, or
You're saying about the which and
like whether in South Korea like is it like wild animals cannot live there, or what is the problem that you don't have wild animals?
I think wild animals cannot live because there is an nature and we are not environmentally friendly, so we just destroy the nature and build very huge buildings everywhere. So I think they're losing their place to live. Yeah.
And like which countries do you know in Africa? If maybe you know a country or maybe something like about this country.
You mean the name of the country?
Yes.
Yeah. I know the Kenya and Morocco, South Africa, and I think those three countries are popular.
Sure. Kenya is popular, South Africa, Morocco. That's good. And would you like to visit like Africa one day, or maybe live there, or maybe even have a girlfriend from Africa? What do you think?
Actually, I really want. After I decided to visit Sweden as an exchange student, I really wanted to visit Africa because it's close from the Europe, and especially I was planning to visit Morocco, the Sahara Desert. I really want to have a desert tour at there, but yeah, so I'm making a plan to visit there. Yeah.
And what could be like your expectations maybe when you are in Morocco? What do you like to experience, like which is maybe not in Europe or maybe in South Korea?
Maybe when I travel to a new country, I always expect about their local food, and I watched some YouTube video from a travel YouTuber, and I saw many unique food. Totally different from Korean food, so I want to enjoy that, and I also watched their traditional clothes. So if I have a chance, I want to wear that. Traditional clothes.
That's really interesting. And what will tell someone like who like to visit South Korea, like maybe to study or maybe for other adventures? What would you like to tell them? Like, is it okay for them to go to South Korea maybe for studies?
Yeah, South Korea is very safe, and it's really crowded, but we have lots of food and tourist spots in Korea, and it's totally different. Its mood is totally different from any other European countries or the Africa countries, because it's a very big city with tall buildings. So if you
and I'm from France.
Okay, today I'd like to ask you something like, what do you know about Africa, or what comes to your mind when you hear about Africa?
What comes to mind? Good question. When I think about Africa, it's well, from what I know, like from people I know, because like in France and in Belgium where I live, people are mostly from either Northern Africa, so let's say Morocco, Tunisia, or Algeria, or like Congo and Western Africa, like let's say Mali, or even Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, and and so one from
maybe out of like all these countries you have mentioned, like which like do you find interesting, like in one of the countries, or what do you think is interesting for you?
I mean, interesting. Of course, like in terms of culture, let's say in all these people, I see something that we don't particularly have in terms of like behavior. It's they're more like family people than us. I think they're more linked to the family. When I see my friends from this country, they always mention or like I see them with their brothers, their cousins, and stuff like that, and they value them. Maybe it's not more or less, but they value them differently than what we do here
In Belgium.
in France or Belgium, something like that.
And maybe like in future, would you like to maybe go to Africa or maybe
Sure.
visit Africa?
Sure.
Which country would you like to visit?
Which country is that? Oh, first of all, of course, like the most known countries like is gonna be Egypt, even if it's like something like that. But even like under what's the country under Kenya as well?
South Africa?
No, just under Kenya.
Under Kenya. Which country is under Kenya? Which country is under Kenya? Somali?
No. Wait. I know exactly. Wait. Get the name. I know this country.
Hello, what are you doing there? Where are you going?
Tanzania.
Oh, Tanzania.
Tanzania is like I know it's amazing and stuff like that. So
You like to visit Tanzania one day?
sure. Or even my brother went to Rwanda once.
Rwanda.
Rwanda apparently it's very nice because there's a lot of stuff.
Okay, that's good. If you go to Tanzania, I think it's been much better. It's more or less like in East Africa, also like as compared to Kenya, I think.
Yeah,
Sure.
Kenya, Tanzania, stuff like that.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
and,
you.
if you go to Tanzania, tell them Jambo, okay?
What?
Jambo.
Jambo.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.